The best action scene of the volume is, of course, Yang versus Adam. One would think that this is due to the fact that they implemented Monty's old test animation for a fight between Adam and Yang, but that would be underselling the great action animation found throughout the fight. The action here is fast and intense, with a bunch of smart back and forth between Yang and Adam. Yang bobbing and weaving under Adam's attacks, Adam taking a shot at Yang while his back is turned. There is even a moment where Adam throws a feint and tries to take another shot at Yang with his rifle. The reason the feint fails is because Yang didn't just try to dodge Adam's blade, she also kept her guard up. The most interesting thing about the way Yang fights is how much she maintains her guard. There's another moment where Yang lands a punch after leaping in the air, kicks Adam, but she doesn't follow up with a punch. She instead notices that Adam is going to retaliate and immediately puts up her guard and dodges it. The cinematography is also well done as the action is framed in such a way that just about every action is readable. Take Yang countering Adam as an example. The shot is initially behind Yang and to her right. This gives plenty of negative space for us to see the swing of Adam's katana. This also gives us a good angle to see Yang stop Adam by grabbing his wrist and twisting it over his head. The camera now pans around to the side of Yang and Adam to frame up Yang's punch to the back, elbow and knee to the gut, and finally a punch to the face, which happens right in the center of the frame. We also get to see some nice tricks that help sell the action. This can be seen with Yang's multiple punches. The way they have the punches hit one after another so quickly is by duplicating Yang's arms. When one arm reels back, the duplicate is throwing another punch. I also really like the arch of Yang's last punch, which is brilliantly emphasized with a flame effect since she is punching with a gauntlet on her left arm. One animation that really impressed me is Yang running in place after shooting herself around Adam. Yang propels herself at Adam but dodges Adam's attack and does a spin kick. She then uses her weapons to quickly move herself out of the way of Adam's retaliations. Because she moves so quickly, Yang has to struggle in order to get back in. Why this is impressive to me is that they could have just had Yang snap back in, but instead choose to make it a struggle. Essentially, Yang is struggling against the momentum that just propelled her into this position. I would compare this to the Bakugo vs Deku fight from My Hero Academia Season 3. Here, the power buildup of One for All is what is pushing back against the force that just pushed against Deku. Monty-wise, we see them implement the multi-clone slash, the use of clones to disorient Yang, and the 3 Iaidos. The multi-clone slash starts the fight off and is really well done due to how Yang reacts. She dodges the first slash, deflects the second, dodges the next 2, and blocks the last 3. The animation for Adam is also really intense and is emphasized by how far Yang gets pushed back after the onslaught. I also really like how black the effects get while Adam is using his semblance. The shots of Adam using his clones to disorient Yang are pretty different from the test footage. This sequence includes shots of Yang trying to keep track of Adam. The ground stab does change from Adam doing so while on the ground to Adam being in the air first and the aforementioned stab generating a shockwave. One nice detail about the shockwave is a distortion effect being placed around its origin. This emphasizes how hot and intense the attack is. The 3 drawing slashes are particularly interesting because the animation doesn't have Adam fully draw the katana out from its sheath. One would think this is a problem, but Adam is animated to fully draw the blade on the last slash, which means that this is deliberate. So why does this work? Basically, we are falling for an illusion or sleight of hand. The design of this sequence of animation is done in such a way that we won't notice that Adam hasn't fully drawn his katana. There are 3 reasons for this. First up is the sound design. I typically don't bring this up when discussing animation, but this plays an obvious role in suspending the audience's disbelief. What happens in the sound design in each of the 3 attacks is that they get more intense with each swing. Listen. This is to help audibly convey and sell the audience on the power of the attacks. Next up is the motion of the attacks, which each have 4 distinct phases. These phases are anticipation, draw, attack, and resheath. Looking at just the first attack, Adam is initially in anticipation for around 2 to 3 frames. His body turned away from Yang. Adam then turns his torso towards Yang and begins drawing the sword. This takes 1 frame to complete before Adam's attack hits Yang. Adam holds this pose for another 3 frames as the effects for the slash and impact are played. Just as the effects are dissipating, Adam is resheathing his katana, which takes another 2 frames. This totals the first attack as being completed in 10 frames, which is about a third of a second. The last 2 attacks go through the same phases and are all completed in just over a second. What this means is that the attacks go by so quickly that we don't have time to notice the 3 frames that Adam holds the drawing pose for. What I find most interesting is Adam holding this pose as the effects for the attack play. This is to make it so there are no distracting motions for the effects of the attack. It's also as if Adam has already swung the blade and started resheathing it before the attack actually lands. One thing of note is how some of the individual phases for the next 2 attacks will take an extra frame or so to complete. This is because of the last reason for how this illusion is accomplished: the effects. The effects for Adam's attacks play an important role in visually selling the attacks. Because Adam isn't fully drawing the katana out of its sheath, the effects have to pick up the slack. The effects are prominent and will draw our attention away from Adam. Once the effects are done, our eyes will return to Adam, who has already started resheathing his blade. Remember how I mentioned a minute ago how some of the phases of the attack take slightly longer to complete than the previous? Well, this is to build up the power for the effects. The last one being doubly more powerful than the previous 2, and has the blade fully drawn as Adam stays in this pose while the effects play and Yang is pushed back. Notice how Adam holds his last pose. This is to help sell the power suggested by the effects. So, the reasons why this sleight of hand works are because the sound design convinces us that the attacks did, in fact, happen, the animation goes by too quickly for us to notice, and the effects draw our attention away from Adam. If you want more on this, listen to this excerpt from the Hollow Knight video put out by New Frame Plus that covers effects animation.
Again, I'm not meaning to downplay the importance of Bug Knight's character animation. The tilt of their mask and the changes in their line of action help to sell so many of their movements. But if you took the effects animation and the sound out of these moves, they would not feel powerful. Heck, half of them wouldn't even read. Look what happens when I take the sound and effects away from just the basic attack. It doesn't even look like anything anymore.
Now, this scene does have its problems. Early on, Adam sends out an air slash that he then follows up by throwing his blade at Yang. The problem here is that you can't see the air slash during the second shot of this sequence. The reason for this is because the shot cuts from Adam to Yang after Yang has already sidestepped it. The air slash is only in this shot for a single frame, so there isn't time for the audience to see it when the new shot begins. It would have been better to cut on the moment Adam finished sending out the air slash and have the next shot show Yang dodging it and Adam following up by throwing his weapon. There is also a moment where the action comes to a screeching halt, so Blake can explain Adam's semblance to Yang. This comes after Adam just unleashed a shockwave forcing Yang back. This shot also copies the shot composition of a moment that does the exact same thing back in episode 13 of Volume 5, in which Oz explains Hazel's power to Nora. This shot is a bit better than the one in the fight between Yang and Adam, because Nora had just tossed Hazel and is going to need time to recover. In the fight against Adam, Adam has nothing stopping him from continuing the attack. There are, of course, some animation errors and inconsistencies. At the end of the multi-clone slash, a portion of Adam's clothing becomes transparent. This may be because the renderer couldn't properly handle the 3 models of Adam occupying the same space. There is also a moment where Adam takes a shot at Yang, but there is not an effect showing whether the shot misses or hits Yang. There is an inconsistency at the start of the fight where Adam is facing Yang perpendicular to the platform they are on, but is then fighting her parallel to it. The scene remains consistent after that, but another one happens after Blake explains Adam's semblance. Yang is to the left of Blake during the explanation, but in the next shot when the action starts back up, Yang is to the right. She is then placed back to the left in the next shot. Hey, this is Faboover recording a little bit in the middle of editing here. The reason for this is to point out a mistake that I had made uh, in regards to what I had just said about the position of Yang during this scene. So, to explain the problem, I was actually incorrect about Yang's positioning here in relation to Blake. She is not actually to Blake's left in this scene. She is to her left in the frame, but in actuality, this would not be true for what I said going forward from there, where she would change to the right, as in this shot here. The only like small change here is Yang is a bit further back than she was in this shot. So if Yang was actually like pushed like all the way to the left of Blake in this instance, the camera would be actually facing the waterfall in the background here a lot more, and Yang would probably be more over to this left side rather than where she is currently. So what I said here is for this like little portion is actually not correct. What I did say going forward here, I am correct on this is a change to how things are in the scene, because she is now full on to the left of where Blake is. Blake is over to the right, off frame here. So yeah, I just want to record this little bit to correct myself while I'm editing. Excuse me. To say that I was wrong saying that Yang is to the left of Blake in this shot. That's incorrect. She is to the right. The one inconsistency there is that Yang gets changed to being over to the left during this shot. Thank you. I'll get back to editing the video now, and hopefully it won't be so far after this current date at the bottom right, which is the 25th of June. Thank you.